and welcome to Saving People, Queering Things, the supernatural podcast where there's a new god in town. Today, we are pulling up to the opening episode of Season 7, Meet the New Boss. I'm your host, August, and my pronouns are they, them.
I'm Sam. My pronouns are they, them.
And I'm Noah. Pronouns he, him.
How are y'all doing today? We're back. We're meeting Season 7 today.
Season 7.
Feels good. We're making a decent clip through the show, and we're almost at the halfway mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I forgot how much happens in this episode.
Like, it's a premiere. It's a premiere episode.
Yeah. I like watched half of it and then took a little pause to do stuff because ADHD. And came back and watched the second half, and I was like, this could be too, like, there's so much happened.
Yeah, a lot of plot happening in just this episode.
Yeah,
we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
and some predictions to come back to. Maybe before we jump into the recap, Noah, like, where'd your how are you feeling about those predictions now?
Honestly, all over the place. Some parts of it I did pretty good on. I think, don't quite remember what they all were, but the Leviathans did not see that happening in episode 1. I heard rumors that it was happening this season, but they really jumped right into it. They're like,
it's immediate. You're like,
God.
Okay, here we are.
I really
Here's
like
a new
that.
big bad.
I'm always down for shows whenever they have characters be, taken over by something else, and like they have to act completely different from their usual, like we've seen with demon possession and whatnot. But this feels like it's on a whole new level.
Yeah, it's kind of a new form of possession kind of type. And we only get to see like a moment of it from Misha of like the true, like, oh, this is a different character. But that moment's great.
He sells it heart and soul, maybe literally. Ooh.
Okay, let's catch everyone up. So if you have not watched Supernatural recently, here is what you've missed on the road so far. It is the beginning of season 7. If it's been a while since you've been with us for an episode, or if you are new, if you're jumping in, thanks for being here. We do this thing called the 30-second recap, where every week we recap Supernatural as a whole, and we recap this week's episode. So Noah is going to start us off with our show recap. Are you ready?
I feel
6
ready.
full seasons to recap today.
No big deal.
I was gonna say, this is the big one.
This is the big one.
It's the beginning of the season. You gotta like catch us all up.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, on your mark, get set, and go.
Okay, so the two brothers, they were raised to hunt demons and ghosts and supernatural creatures. And then their shithead dad dies, and then Sam dies because he's a problem child raised by a demon, quote unquote. Not John, but yeah. And then Dean sells his soul to get him back, and then ends up trapped in hell. And then his boyfriend Angel Cass brings him back, and then they have to stop the apocalypse, but then they fuck it up and they start the apocalypse, and then they have to like defeat Lucifer, and then
you got to season 5.
I got to season 5. That sucks. I got too hung up on John.
Do you want to give us just your one sentence? What's season 6 in one sentence?
Cass lies to the brothers about his war in heaven and uses them to attain quote unquote godhood.
Nice. Nailed it. All right, Sam, ready to recap our episode for this week?
Oh God, I suppose.
I'm gonna count you in. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so Cass is God and is just going on a fucking rampage. And so the brothers are trying to stop him. Something's up with Sam, ? And so the brothers try to stop Cass. They end up going and binding Death to try to get Death to help them. And then Cass shows up, but he's in rough shape. And Leviathans?
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Nice. There we go.
It's everything you really need.
If you have been listening to us for any length of time, you know that usually this is the part of the show where we do our episode mixtape. We are going to be still doing that this season, but it is going to move around a little bit. So stay tuned. That's going to come up a little bit later in our discussion, and we are going to jump right into this episode. Today we are pulling up to season 7, episode 1, Meet the New Boss. And as always with season premieres, we're going to be talking about it through the theme of family. Where'd y'all want to start?
I mean, we can start with the big betrayal of family that happens with, Cass basically turning his back on them.
It picks, and this is a fun. I like this premiere because it really picks up like a second after where we left off the end of season 6. It picks up like right where Cass is being like, "I'm God, kneel to me
and profess your love."
Yeah.
Bobby being the first to kneel, being like, "Well, okay, if we want to survive, this is what we have to do."
Yeah, Bobby gets there a lot faster, and I think it's because he doesn't have quite the same emotional. Like, it's still a betrayal, but it's not the same level of a betrayal as it is for Sam, and particularly for Dean.
Yeah.
And Bobby just going, "Okay, Cass is a lost cause. Cass is God. We got to survive this."
Yeah, which is insane, but we love it. Oh, and Cass threatening Sam with the pit, like, "I could just throw you back there. You want that?" And it's like, whoa.
Oh my God, I know.
Okay, sir.
Yeah,
that'd be like if you went up to Dean and was like,
not
"Bark, bark, you hear that? It's hellhounds." Like, no. No, sir.
Bark, bark, it's hellhound. I do find it really interesting, like, Cass, as soon as Bobby and Dean start to bow, Cass stops them and goes like, "Oh, this isn't respect or love, like, this is just fear." And it's like already sort of the wheels are coming off of Cass's idea of who he is as a god. Like, he's asking for their love and their respect, but of course he's not getting it because he's demanding it with the threat of violence. And I think it's kind of highlighting how much Cass has sort of lost his way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so.
Oh, yeah. And it definitely feels like it's not Cass.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in the way that he's speaking, it's like, oh, okay, something has changed.
Yeah.
And this is not the Cass that we know.
It sort of reminds me a little bit of when...
Like, he's possessed almost.
It sort of reminds me a little bit of when Sam was really hopped up on the demon blood. In parts of season 4 where he couldn't, where you're it's still Sam, but something has so fundamentally sort of shifted that he's not thinking. I think it's really interesting with Cass particularly because his whole thing has been he still wants the things that he wanted a season ago. He wants family, he wants them to love and respect him, but now he's being I want that, but I also want to be the one with all the power. I also think I deserve to be the one with all the power right now.
It's almost like a mix of demon blood Sam and soulless Sam, all of the power and false justice that he had as demon blood, but with the lack of emotion when he didn't have a soul. Because he's very, not stoic, but aloof, it seems.
Sort of angelic again. In a way we haven't seen him be angelic in a while.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we flash to first before we go there, we get this moment with Sam. He doesn't heal Sam like he promised he would. I mean, he says that it's because they betrayed him, which kind of fair, but also ooh, that's cold.
Yeah.
And especially since Sam is actively having hallucinations of Lucifer's cage.
And Lucifer. Not to jump ahead, but didn't expect to see him in this episode.
No, sorry, I'm Mark Pellegrino jump scare for you this episode.
Out of nowhere. But seeing Sam wrestle with that and try to hide it from Bobby and Dean all episode was a little rough, and it hurt pretty bad.
Yeah.
Which sort of leads me into my episode mixtape for this episode.
Nice. Okay. Give it to us.
I picked At the Risk of Feeling Dumb by 21 Pilots, one of their new songs.
Ooh.
It's a bop, and it's such a good song. Fantastic music video too. But it plays on, even if your friends say they're fine and they say, no, I don't want you to interrupt your plans to check on me. I'm not that important. You should still check up on them, because once it's too late, you'll wish that you had.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one for their relationship with Cass right now. And
yep, you should have checked up on him.
And also Sam.
And Sam struggling. Dean is all too ready to accept that Sam says he's fine, so he's fine. But he's not paying attention to some of the red flags that are happening.
Right. And to the fact that you can't just break his wall and then just sort of assume that the consequences are going to be so minimal.
Yeah.
This is what confuses me about how Dean and Bobby didn't really seem that concerned about Sam. And I'm his wall just broke. You really think that it doesn't make sense to me why they believe him when he says he's fine. Also, he says he's fine all the time when he's not.
Yeah, I think it's a pattern with him. And if they were not in crisis, maybe they would be better at, they're sort of, there's the world crisis, and then there's their mini little family crisis. And they're Cass might literally kill everyone And that, yeah.
Yeah.
But it does seem
fair.
like they should. It does seem like they should pick it up a little quicker than they do.
Well, yeah, it's like, Sam's wall just broke. Of course, he's not fine.
Yeah, and maybe you should talk to him. Maybe Sam should tell them. Maybe
Also that, yeah.
Maybe
Sam
they
is
have
very
been
bad.
here before. Like they've been here before with Sam in particular.
But that's what I mean. Like they should know that not to believe him when he just says I'm fine.
Right, because like Sam is characteristically lies about that.
Constantly.
Yeah. When is he ever fine when he says fine?
Yeah. We move right into this like scene with Cass, and this is kind of where my mixtape kind of comes from. So I'll like talk about the scene first and then tell you my mixtape. But like,
no, sorry. As he goes to that scene, there's no angel wing sound when he leaves. It's more of like a whoosh of wind instead of like a flap.
I didn't catch that.
Something's changed.
Like, yeah, he's different.
He's different. Okay, the power is different. Like the power that he like, and which we even find out with like the fact. I mean, we know the fact that the angel blade like doesn't work now. He's not an angel, not fully. And so we flash to this scene in a church, we flash to this scene in heaven. First off, where he kind of basically lays down this like ultimatum of like, if you're not with me, you'll die. And everyone who was with Raphael, look, they're already dead. We get this like shot of like a bunch of like,
that was chilling,
massacred,
like, and you realize just like how far Cass has gone already.
Yeah,
I'm your daddy now is almost verbatim what he says. So.
And the song I have today is Rule the World by Walk Off the Earth.
Oh.
There's all these lines.
I considered that one.
Nice. It's been in my playlist for using for a mixtape forever, for like multiple years. I've known I was going to use it for one of these sort of moments with Cass. And yeah, there's this sort of like line in the first verse, made my decision, made it through the shades of gray, made it my own way. And yeah, it's just this, it's like a sort of a boppy song but it's very much about like carrying on and making these sort of choices and making these choices even when those people are kind of warning you against. There's like, they say no way, I say I rule the world. Like it's sort of, the Cass is sort of in this sort of bubble of like it's him against literally everyone else. And he's still so convinced. At the beginning of this episode, by later on it changes, but at the beginning of this episode, he's so convinced that he's in the right for these decisions. And I thought this song kind of matched that vibe.
Hell yeah. Although, to be fair, a lot of the decisions he makes are pretty great decisions.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about it. I'll take a god that kills homophobes. That's actually maybe not true.
Dismantles the KKK.
I will take a god that's like, actually, fuck you.
These pastors are abusing their power and manipulating people, and so I'm gonna get them out of there. They aren't actually speaking for me as God. Like that's
the absolute. Thank you, writers, for this one, and thank you, Cass, for the like. I am utterly indifferent to sexual orientation.
Yes,
good line.
Yes,
so good. The religious drama really jumped out in that scene when the pastor was like ranting. And I was like, oh no, I don't want to be back here. No,
I don't want to watch it. It's a satisfying scene to watch now that I've seen it more than once. When you see it the first time, I'm like, ooh, I remember being like, ooh.
Yeah.
But it's such a satisfying scene now because you're like, And I do think that like we've given Cass a lot of grief already for like sort of going off the rails and like not listening to anyone, and like he's in a dangerous dark place. But like God also like give him some flowers for the fact that his instinct as God, at least when it comes to like certain elements of humanity, was to be like, I'm upset at hypocrites and
racists.
You're like, you know what?
Yeah, I get it. I see the vision here, and I'm not super mad at it until he starts like, losing control and butchering a bunch of innocent people.
Yeah, the moment when he kills a bunch of like motivational speakers, and you're like, okay, we actually do not have we don't have a strong enough sense of
I still wasn't mad at that part. I was like, okay, I kind of see where you're going. Depending on the motivational
I do love
speeches.
Dean's line to Sam of like, I'm not sure new Cass gets irony any more than old Cass, which very, very sweet.
He's trying to relate still. The special effects that they did for Cass as he was, falling apart from the inside out, it looked pretty cool. It looked pretty dope. It was fun to see that progression.
They do the visual effects are really cool in this episode, and the little things like the like Cass like touches the bench at the
Yeah.
pew at the church, and it goes black, and then you see on the stained glass that it's changed into a
As
picture
he
of
walks
him.
by. Oh my gosh.
Like,
Yeah.
oof.
Yeah, that was cool. It was a good shot. Oh, and then we get Crowley. Crowley shows up because the boys summon him to, well, I guess he makes a deal with his new boss, Cass, first. And then, he tries to hide out and does all the little angel blocking spells.
Cass threatens him. Cass comes to him and is like, I'm going to take most of your souls. What you going to do about it?
Oh, it's nothing. You're going to do nothing, sir. Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough. But then the boys summon him, and Crowley's like, what the fuck do you want from me? And Bobby says, we just want you to stand there and look pretty. Okay. Saying that to somebody who has bragged in front of your boys that you guys made out and you use tongue. Like, okay, we see you.
Okay, Bobby.
We see you, bisexual Bobby.
They do have a vibe, those two. A real vibe.
But then going with the bonkers off the wall plan to bind death. Are you kidding me?
They're desperate.
So desperate.
They do jump immediately to we have no other options. If Cass is literally God, that's the most powerful being.
Exactly.
Let's try to control the most powerful being we've ever met.
Exactly. Okay. It's not like this, it's not like it's just a monster that they haven't encountered before.
No.
This is they're like, oh shit, Cass is God. And
and they don't even know for sure.
Really, the only other option they have and the only other thing that they can think of is maybe powerful enough is death.
Yeah.
It makes sense that that's where they went.
Yeah. And they don't even know that for sure that will work. They don't even necessarily know for sure that Cass isn't more powerful than death, but they're just sort of banking on.
They're like, this is our only, this is the best idea we have.
Which I, in my heart, want to believe that death is at least equivalent to God, because he has that whole line a few seasons back where he's like, yeah, he and I have fought across the centuries and the eons, danced back and forth through universes.
Well, he says that one day doesn't he say the one day I'll reap God, day I'll reap God?
Yeah. So
it's fair that they're well, God might be our only bet.
Yeah. But Cass is also powerful enough to drop the binding like it's nothing. So that's pretty cool.
But do you think there are I don't know. I think Death is such an interesting character.
Oh, yeah.
And it's interesting because Death seems to have to Death has so much power, but also is quite bound by rules.
Whereas God can sort of adjust those rules.
Right.
Okay.
But do you think that Cass was able to just break the binding, but he didn't do anything to Death?
No.
Do you think that's because he can't, because there are certain rules that even him as God can't really, he's like, okay, well, I can't kill Death.
I wonder if he doesn't want to. I wonder if it's sort of the same situation, even if he thinks he could, and I don't know if he thinks he can, but it's maybe the same as with Crowley, where he's like, I need you.
I have more use for you alive.
Yeah, you do something real. It's also if you get rid of death, what is the risk to the foundations of
reality?
Yeah, of reality.
Yeah.
What happens if you kill death? Who knows? That seems like something you maybe even Cass would not be have enough hubris to want to find out.
Yeah. And I do think that Death, while he has all this power and responsibility, he is a lot more relaxed about it in a way where he's on top of it. He knows what he's about, and he is so confident in everything that a new God is just coming into all this power and trying to make things right, quote unquote. And Death is well, this is the way it is. And so I know my situation. It just comes across he's never threatened by anyone, even if there's a new God and he's yeah, I don't give a shit. He can't touch me. He gives off that air.
I'm going to just keep doing my job. Don't you, if you decide you want to try and mess with that, go ahead.
Yeah, Death is zero fucks and it's awesome.
He's the equivalent of, I don't know, I just work here.
Yeah, really.
And also you think you can fucking fire me? I was here when this company was built.
I've got tenure.
I've got tenure.
Yeah. For real.
Yes, exactly.
That is the vibe.
I love seeing him back though. Anytime he wants to come back.
Oh yeah, Death is awesome.
Oh, he's so good. He's so carries himself with this sort of gravitas.
Oh yeah, no other character does.
Okay, so then Death is the one that actually reveals to Cass what's happening, because Cass is sort of something's wrong, not just something's wrong with his body.
He's like the Jonas Brothers. He's burning up.
I was where are you going?
Where you going with that?
Yeah, he's burning out, like his vessel's burning out because Death's like, you took in a whole lot more than souls in purgatory. There is something before there were human souls and before there were angels, and those things are leviathans. And they almost destroyed the world, so God locked them up in purgatory. Like, that's why purgatory exists.
And now you have them inside you. Good job.
On Earth, but sir, and you let them into heaven at one point.
They're the only thing holding your human body. Jimmy Novak's body is the only thing holding these Leviathan out of Earth.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Terrifying. Which that's another like note. Like, we haven't heard from Jimmy in like so long. I want to hear from Jimmy. See how he's holding up. Is he even like? Did
we establish that? No, I think we established that in season 5 when Michael kills Cass that it would have when he explodes him that it most likely would have been it for Jimmy.
Oh, so when he comes back,
we didn't talk about it, but that's sort of how I've always pictured. That's sort of how I've always imagined it. Is that like that's the point when Jimmy's soul would theoretically go to heaven.
Okay.
And that when God brings Cass back, he brings Cass back. He doesn't bring back Jimmy. He just brings Cass back, and this is just kind of Cass's vessel now. Cass's body.
He's the only angel with their own vessel, their own body.
Right.
They don't have to take over somebody else. Interesting. Okay. So does that mean Jimmy never comes back?
Well, I'm not going to answer that part of it.
Fine,
just to like the logic. Just not going to answer that part of this.
Okay.
Nice try, Noah.
Now I'm trying to put emotion in my voice and see if that helps. Nope.
So they go like, okay, Death decides to help them still. Death goes like, okay, like you fucked up by trying to bind me. Don't fucking do that. But also, Cass does need to be stopped. So I will help you. Like, you do need to like send everything back to purgatory.
And
you need to convince Cass, but they say you need to convince Cass to give it up. Basically, it's like Death doesn't tell them like you can force Cass to do it. He's like, you got to convince him to give up this power, which I think is really interesting if we're talking about like the theme of family here. Is like he's kind of going like you're gonna have to appeal to him as family, not you can't threaten him into this.
One pretty damn major thing that Death establishes in his conversation with the boys, though, that I was in particular very excited about, and August, I think you'll be right there. It's confirmed that aliens exist in the supernatural. 100% confirmed. Because Death says that he could spend his time on another planet, and like he wouldn't go somewhere where he couldn't do his job, the thing he like loves to do, enjoys doing.
Something out there.
Yep.
So Jamie, what I'm saying is our theory about Jupiter, not too far off, could happen.
Not proven wrong.
Shout out Jamie of Driver Picks the Podcast. Okay, so after the whole Death conversation and they've got their little plan, Sam decides to go bowling, I guess, because he's wearing a bowling shirt, and sir, it does not look great. Come on.
No, like go back to your lumberjack chic. Like that's a much better look for you.
What is happening? Wrong. Incorrect.
Sam shows you just how badly Sam is doing. You're like,
yeah, really, it's a sign. Well, I would love, like, can we talk about how like Death is the one that reveals to Dean and Bobby that how Sam is actually doing, and that's why Death thinks that they've summoned him at first, right?
Yeah, one wall per customer.
He's like, oh, this is because Sam is not doing well, and they're like, what?
They're like, what? Sam's doing fine because he told us he was doing fine. Sam told us he was fine.
Yeah, and we believed him like little idiots.
Sam has actively been like fighting off hallucinations.
Yeah.
Every 10 minutes.
Yeah. Because his fucking wall came down.
He had to go through a whole journey in his mind to like try to piece himself back together, but like he can't be fine after all that.
Yeah.
No. And then like it's
I think I mean we've already just touched on this, but like just the fact that like Bobby and Dean are so focused on Cass that they just like really had no idea what was going on with Sam.
Well, they even say early on in the episode, they're talking to each other, and Dean is like, I have to believe Sam is okay. Like, I have to believe if Sam says he's okay, I have to believe he's okay. And Sam hears that, and that sort of propels him to be like, well, I'm not going to tell them, which is such a bad idea. And it does come back to bite them, but like, Death either can't or won't replace the wall. Unclear if it's a can't or won't.
I feel like it won't.
I would agree. I feel like he has the ability to,
because again, I think Death has a lot of rules that he follows. And he's like, oh, well, I could do it, but like, that's not in the cards. That's not in the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think Death is very, very powerful, and he makes very, very intentional choices.
Yeah.
With his power.
Yeah. Because he's following sort of the rules of like the universe.
Yeah. You're like, the wall is broken. It's done already. I can't change that. I
tried
could,
to
but
warn
like,
you.
right.
I tried to warn you. If there are no consequences for your actions, like what are we doing?
Exactly. That's kind of his whole job.
Yeah, so Death, but Death will bend certain rules. Like he's going to create another eclipse. He's going to create a whole ass eclipse so that they can open another door to purgatory.
Right.
Like that's all he's gonna do, but he's gonna do that.
Right, because he recognizes that's like he's like, okay, it's gonna really fuck things up. We gotta fix this part.
And then Dean is like, there is literally no point in talking to us. There's a sort of breakdown of family here in where Dean is like, it doesn't matter that Death's going to make this eclipse. Like Cass is gone. Cass is not going to listen to us.
Yeah.
It's actually Sam who believes or like tries to appeal. It's actually Sam who goes and prays. Sam who's like fighting off these hallucinations.
Yeah,
Sam's the one that actually goes and prays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's usually Dean doing that.
Yeah, I think maybe Sam's at the point where he's like, the vulnerability is making him desperate enough, whereas Dean, I think, is still in that sort of like anger stage of betrayal with Cass. I think Sam has sort of moved past the anger part
to bargaining.
And of course, Dean has,
it's a different relationship.
Feelings involved, perhaps, than Sam.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different relationship between Sam and
Cass. I feel like Sam can separate things a little more at this point.
Right. It's not as painful for him to consider confronting Cass.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and Cass comes like when Sam prays.
And then he asks them for help.
Well, he asks them for help because previous to this, he wakes up in this office and everyone is dead and he doesn't remember what happened.
Yep. And he's covered in blood.
Mm-hmm. And that's when he answers like Sam's prayer is like right after that has happened. So I think there's oh shit, maybe Death was right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the boys see him like on the news and all that. And they're like, what? Whoa.
We're like, why? Like some of the other deaths sort of made sense. Some of the other like slaughter, like the murders that he was doing sort of like made sense in Cass's own internal logic. But this like massacre doesn't. And that's what sort of
they're like, what is going on?
This is not in the pattern. This is not in the pattern.
Yeah.
Then they open up a door to purgatory again to drop all these souls back off. Mm-hmm. They think it's worked. They think, "Ooh, we did it." Cass is back to Angel, and then
because Cass like lets go of all this power, and they're like, "Okay, we're good. He like released the souls.
Did it.
Lysimos.
The Leviathans are gone.
Crisis averted."
Then we get this nasty shot of something trying to break out of his stomach and chest. Like it's a face hugger on steroids, and I don't like it.
Yeah. But before that, like Cass and two things happened before that. One, Cass talks to Dean, like, and it's sort of like he apologizes for his arrogance. Like that's the trait he acknowledges. He was like, I was arrogant. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then Dean is like, well, I wish that changed anything. Like, whatever, thanks, but too late.
And part of it's too late because he doesn't have enough power to heal Sam. And that's what Cass says. He's like, if I still had power, I would heal Sam. And Dean's like, well, you can't.
Too little, too late.
Yeah.
It's like, nice sentiment, but
like Cass is sort of responsible for the fact that like Sam is actively having hallucinations of Lucifer at that exact same moment in the other room.
Yeah.
And Lucifer is telling him that he's still in hell and that everything that's been happening is a hallucination.
Oh my gosh.
So I just really hard time with it.
Feel for Sammy.
Oh, Sam, this whole episode, it's like
rough.
All these things happening and then they just keep flashing to these moments of Sam being questioning like his whole sense of reality.
Yeah.
Which is never fun.
No.
Yeah. And then now the Leviathans, like, kudos to Misha's acting in this episode. That moment when he's trying to like hold them back.
Mm-hmm.
And then they win. They take control.
Yeah.
It's a really good moment.
Yeah.
It sort of becomes a silly, goofy little guy.
The little like neck crack and like the little veiny spider web.
Oh my God, I know.
It's a cool
Such
effect.
a good visual effect.
Yeah,
Oh,
did enjoy that.
yeah. Misha's acting is good, very good in the way that you can like really tell the switch of when it's Cass and when it's not anymore.
Yeah.
Well, he does. He switched his. He suddenly doesn't have his growly voice. That's just Misha's normal voice.
Yeah. I love this about Misha's acting.
Yeah, I mean the fact that we're sitting at season 7, and since season 4, he has been, he did this voice, this gravelly voice for what he thought was going to be like 3 episodes. And here we are, 3 seasons later.
The only time we've been able to hear his voice is when we saw Misha in The French Mistake, and whenever we met Jimmy way back when.
And now the Leviathans.
Yay! Shit.
And scene. That's where the episode sort of ends.
Yeah. Welcome to season 7.
Ooh, we're here. Oh no. I don't like that we don't know where Sam is. Like, he's off and gone.
Right, he's so caught up in this hallucination that he's actually just not even physically with them.
Yeah, I don't love that.
Well, he just doesn't know what reality is, what's reality and what's not, because these hallucinations are so powerful, which is just so hard to watch, and just oh my god, Sammy, no.
Yeah.
Good start to the season.
Well, and so this is
really,
now we're set up for this season in a big way, because we've got Leviathans, we've got Sam's hell wall broken, we've got Cassie's gone, presumably. What that exactly means is kind of unclear.
Maybe angels don't need to breathe.
Well, and yeah, the Leviathans were in his vessel, and now they've taken control. What that means, for Cass, is sort of we don't know.
Right. It's not clear on whether or not Cass is it a demon possession where Cass is in the background but can't be in control, or did the Leviathans just fully kill Cass out of his vessel and now it's just them?
We were talking earlier about Jimmy and how, he says it's like being chained to a comet, and now Cass is the one chained to the comet.
Or chained to something else. What's the metaphor here? Cass, the comet is chained to
a xenomorph.
The comet chained to the xenomorph. You know what? That actually kind of works.
It works. I'm not mad at it.
I wish I could draw so I could draw it.
Artists. We believe in you.
Someone who is an artist.
Please tag us and let us know so we can
Xenomorph Cass art.
I'd accept Cas Riding the Xenomorph. That. I'd love that. That's some cool art. Probably exists.
Right? That would be cool.
He's gonna find out. Noah's gonna try and find out. Yeah. What do you think's coming, Noah? Predictions, expectations, hope. Next episode is called, let me just double check here.
It's called Hello Cruel World.
Ooh.
Right?
Yep. And we will be talking about it through the theme of vulnerability. Any predictions, hopes, fears, dreams?
Fears, yeah. Fears that
fair.
We're gonna get more evil versions of Leviathans, or evil versions of characters being taken over by Leviathans.
Right.
This might be where Evil Bobby comes in. Shout out Jamie again.
How are we gonna get Evil Bobby out of this scenario?
Leviathan Bobby.
Oh, you think the Leviathans are gonna take over other beings?
Yeah, because there's not just one in there, right? So
no,
they don't want to share that vessel. So I think they might try to spread themselves out a bit.
Okay.
I've seen plenty of, AO3 tags that have Leviathan Dean, Leviathan Sam on there. So I'm pretty sure we're going to get that at some point this season.
Spoiler alert.
Well, I'm sorry. AO3, they don't have spoiler tags. Maybe they do.
That the answer to spoiler tags in AO3 is don't look at AO3.
That's true. It's been ages.
The whole point of tags.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't dare deprive you of AO3 until you finish Supernatural. That would be cruel and unusual punishment.
Truly. But I just avoid the Supernatural stuff.
That seems wise.
And just for the record, I've got Castiel riding the unicorn with rainbow hair on the unicorn.
You're talking about art you found in this last 30 seconds?
No, this is stuff I'm predicting for this.
Okay, cool. That's just making clear. I just want to make sure I get.
And I was Noah, that's
I just want that on the record. That's what you're predicting.
But then I've also got two different pictures of a xenomorph riding a unicorn. So they're just a half step away from riding each other.
True.
What? No.
What?
Yeah,
I
no,
don't.
I said it. I said it.
Okay. All right. All right.
And with that,
I think that's all we have for you today. Yeah. Season 7. Season 7. We are gonna have some fun.
we are ready.
You better.
Thank you both.
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
Because I know that this is not one of Elena's, this is like Elena's least favorite season.
Yeah.
Is that because of the Leviathan plot point?
I think that's largely because of the Leviathan plot points. I don't think Elena loves the Leviathan
Yeah.
storyline.
Yeah. I think it's so, I really enjoyed it my first watch through. I honestly
Okay.
don't know if I've watched season 7 since my very first watch through, but
Okay.
I remember liking the Leviathan storyline.
Okay, that gives me hope.
So, but I will see how I feel this time around because it has been like several years probably.
I am also curious because I feel fairly neutral on season 7, like as a whole. Like I have elements of it I really like and elements of it that are fine. I don't feel like there are seasons that I feel really strongly about, like positively or negatively. This season, I just sort of am like, it's there. I'm gonna have some things to yell about. I'm gonna have some things
Yeah.
that I'm gonna have completely forgotten happened since the last time I saw them.
Right. But like this, I mean, yeah, there's always something to yell about. But I think
Episode
this season has some like really good, funny episodes.
I think so too. I think this season, anyway, we're not gonna like can't
maybe
really say
this
a lot
season as
about-
a whole is like not one of the best ones, but there's some really good episodes that
There
I'm really
is,
looking forward
and there's some fun characters in this season, and like there's some fun little moments, and I think we're gonna have fun with this. I feel like season 7 is gonna be just like a fun time. I'm also excited because like our friends over at Driver Picks, like Jamie and Beth, I think Jamie's really gonna like season 7. I actually thought for a while that both Jamie and Noah would really like season 7.
So far,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan because
Yeah.
the Leviathans are an interesting threat because we know nothing about them and they have an obscene amount of power.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they're gonna kind
very
of
old and they've been in purgatory forever.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have some things about them, Leviathan specifically, that are going to be interesting and fun for you, like based on
Okay.
other characters and monsters and kind of like things you've enjoyed
Okay.
Yeah.
in this show and in others. Like I think some of the plot points are going to hit for you. I'm hoping.
So far, they're giving off the same vibe as the Reapers from the Mass Effect series, where they are like older than the known universe and have the power to end it all. And you're going to have to scrounge up any little bits and pieces that you can to fight back. Like,
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Maybe one final question for you before we wrap up. Now that you've seen 6 seasons, we did this at the end of season 5, but I want to do it again. I want to get your current season rankings from favorite to least favorite now that we have 6.
Yeah.
I feel like this is something I want to keep updating every season.
that's fair. It just gets harder as it goes on.
Exactly. What's number 6? What's your been your least favorite season so far?
Probably season 1.
Okay.
And that's not to discount the impact it had on
No.
but compared to the grand scope of where they've been so far, yeah, season 1's probably lowest. And then
Okay.
probably season 2, which I liked the Demon Kid storyline, but I like season 3 more. And okay, I really like Okay, so season 1, lowest. Season 2, second lowest. And then I think I have to flip it and go start from the top because then my favorite season so far, I think, would probably be season 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then specifically
Season 5 is
the first half of 5 because everyone's alive and happy and healthy.
Yep.
And once Ellen and Joe
Wow.
die, it's like it's bad.
Everyone being healthy
What a
and
low
happy
bar.
in a set of episodes that includes the Endverse episode.
Yeah.
What else happens in the beginning of season 5?
I really like the Edverse episode.
It's the Endverse episode is perfect, but like
Changing
it's calling the
channels.
first half of season 5 when they're happy.
After they have started the apocalypse. Yeah. Whoops. And then I think season 4 is number 2, and probably season 3, and then season 6.
Okay, so season 6 basically slotting in right in the middle.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I enjoyed a lot of it,
Yeah.
but
No, I
3
kind
was
of
so
I kind
strong.
of can see it. I can see it.
Mhm.
Interesting. Interesting. We'll come back to this
Okay.
when we finish season 7. But there you have it.
Very good.
It is now time, before we wrap up, for our final and favorite section of the episode quite often. And that is our blessings, character to watch, who we're paying attention to from this episode and going forward. Noah, do you want to start us off?
Absolutely. I think I would be doing myself a disservice if I don't pick Bobby as many times as I can this season. So I'm going to pick Bobby because he did so great this episode, taking care of his boys and trying to make sure that they're happy and healthy, and while also being concerned about Cass and flirting with Death and Crowley. And I just want to see more. I'm very excited.
Bobby's had a very well-rounded episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, very good. I'm gonna also go with a classic for me. I'm gonna go with Sam, as I often do.
He's got to be blessed this episode. We can't get away.
It's rough for him. It's hard to see him going through it. And yeah, I hope he can make it through.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like maybe tell his family when he's not doing well and not just fine.
Communicate.
Right. Like you're not going to be able to, if you're questioning reality, maybe tell your family.
Yeah.
I am going to bless Dean this episode, and I struggle between Dean and Cass this episode.
Yeah.
I'm going to bless Dean because we get that really heartbreaking moment where Cass is finally like acknowledging that everything's gone wrong and he's trying to sort of make it right, but it's sort of too late. And Dean looks absolutely sort of devastated in that moment of like, what? I wish that you had come to us sooner. I wish that we could fix this. And I don't think we can. Like, it's too late. I think that that's Dean sort of goes through this set of emotions around Cass this episode, and they ultimately have to they lose Cass at the end. And I think we're going to see that have a big impact on Dean. So I want to bless him for the sort of grief that he's going through in this episode. Nice little happy end for us, done.
Yay!
Because that's all we have for you today, folks.
Yeah.
Can't wait to get more. I'm excited.
And make sure that you are subscribed to Saving People Queering Things wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you like us, share our show with your friends. You can also join our free Discord server, find links to our socials, and catch up on the latest season mixtapes, all on our website, queeringthingspodcast.com.
While you're there, might as well check out our, semi-recent sideshow, Queering People Saving Throws. It's our main crew, along with KJ of Supernatural Opinions, taking a deep dive into a queer D&D adventure, and it releases on Fridays right here on our feed.
Yeah, it's very fun. Noah's our DM. It's great. It's fantastic.
It's a really cool time. Go check it out.
You get to hear us all do accents badly.
Yeah.
Well, you get to hear me do a bad accent. You get to hear other people's accents be good.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
Nobody's beating Elena's accent, and that's just
it's
where
true.
it's at. And
that's why I had to correct myself, because I was like, I can't say that Noah, I can't say that Elena's accent is bad. It's just simply not true.
Yeah.
It's fair.
And KJ's Valley Girl and Noah's Valley Girl are pretty great.
That's true. Very good.
I've got lots of practice.
In terms of this show, you can be sure to ride along with us next week as we explore Season 7, Episode 2, Hello, Cruel World, through the theme of vulnerability.
Thank you all for coming for the ride, and we wish you a peaceful road until we meet again.